I wanted my ball. So I got down on my knees and I crawled deeper into her yard. I sniffed the air. It smelled like fresh squeezed lemons. The smell carried on the wind. I wrapped my fingers around my ball when I heard someone talking. I looked up and didn't see anyone at first. Then I saw her. And I saw it. Her was Lucy Johnson. It was the thing she was kneeling in front of. It was like an altar, but it wasn't an altar, like in church. This altar wasn't made of marble or wood or had gold crosses and statues on it. This altar was made of junk, and it was as long as a fence and as tall as me. This altar was made of boxes and crates and old wash tubs painted orange. And stuck to the altar were naked dolls that held tiny American flags and garbage cans painted in blue with potted plants on top. Beat-up typewriters with TV antenna ears sat on car fenders that were painted with symbols, and everywhere, there were pictures of people staring at me. In the middle of this junk was crazy Lucy Johnson, with her hands folded in prayer in front of a picture of an old black man. The rain came down and beat on her torn straw hat and her raggedy clothes, but she didn't seem to notice. She prayed above the lightning and the thunder. The louder she prayed, the louder the thunder roared. It won't be long till we're together again. I got the words straight from the Almighty. He come to me in my dreams and he tell me things. She touched the picture with her hand and raised her head to the sky. Yes, Amos, we gonna be together again, just you and me. Then she threw her hands in the air and yelled, Yes, Amos! Yes! And that's when I ran.
Leona glanced around the room. She noticed that one of the doors to the medicine cabinet was open. A clear glass bottle was missing. She saw it lying on the surgical table. She bent over and sniffed near Dr. Fowler. He sometimes took his own medicine, and when he did that, he went into alternative fits of laughing and crying. She did not smell the odor of the medicine on him, only his rank body odor. She also noticed that the door leading to the living quarters was closed. There would be no interruptions, although she knew that Mrs. Fowler was apt to lurk behind the door. Even with his eyes closed, he followed her movements behind him by the swish of her long skirt. Leona took the brush in her hand and hesitated above his head, and then, with resignation, began to brush his shoulder-length straight hair that was greasy with pomade. The room was cold, and her dress was still wet from the wash. He turned to look at her. You cold? Yes, Master, just a little, sir. Well, this won't take long. Now, I want you to cut it evenly. I don't like it too short, you know? Yes, sir. She leaned her body into him. She felt him lean his weight against her. Leona took his long, thick hair and wrapped the ends around her fingers. She held the scissors in her hand and snipped the ends. She took another strand and did the same. She saw him watching her in the mirror. He saw her watching him. She forced herself not to think of how sharp the scissors were.